This film's future is one in which the only important human constructs are technology and the companies that run them. It's like a film made by AI that only understands humanity in terms of corporations and corporate lingo. There is also definitely a shift in how odd and unsettling it is to hear robots question their own existence. Pre-ChatGPT, this was just a sci-fi trope. It now feels sort of odd and unsettling, and again I don't think the film understands its own prescience. It's like talking to a machine that doesn't understand how creepy it is. There are scenes of malware attacking systems, and these scenes are personified, real people physically breaking into things. It should be silly, as though a computer program is actually a little army executing functions, but it reminded me of the way we conceptualize physics. We draw little circles for atoms with small protons whizzing around in orbit. This is not how atoms look or behave, but it's a useful way of conceptualizing something too complex to otherwise get a handle on. Likewise, we don't understand how AI systems work, and this infantilizing gesture, turning little AIs into humanoid soldiers, is actually quite frightening. It accidentally parodies our craving for simple stories to make sense of systems that are dominating the culture and which we don't really understand. Leto's performance is unconvincing, but this too is interesting. There is an emptiness to the performance that is not an intentional channeling of the uncanny nature of his character. I imagine it's a sincere attempt at a good performance, but it's entirely empty. It is like an impression of a good performance that is bad in ways it doesn't itself realize. It's this lack of self-awareness that makes it eerily fascinating, like a ChatGPT response that seems intelligent but which perhaps mimics a folksy intimacy that rings so hollow it exaggerates the fakeness it's attempting to smooth over. The script is so inept it becomes part of the jerky strangeness of the whole. The only aspect of the production that has depth is the score, propulsive, pacey, full of blood and kineticism. Putting it over such a lifeless, mechanical, empty set of images seems a warning of Sora 2 and all it will inevitably herald. Everyone suddenly able to create perfectly executed, slickly thrilling images of anyone doing anything imaginable. This will be superficially thrilling for a few minutes, then we will be glutted by it, bloated and sick, and when such empty videos are accompanied by music that has behind it a clear texture of effort, thought and intelligence, the contrast is so jarring some new deformed cultural creation is birthed by the process. Ugly and disturbing but real, new, and probably the way of the future.
Tron is a dislocating experience. To call it bad is like calling an AI-generated email a bad. That's not really the point. The old way of simply classifying and dismissing cultural artifacts that are intellectually lazy doesn't quite capture the strangeness of this film's emotionally vacant effect. This is the future. That it is empty, unsatisfying, loud and vapid is, I feel, prescient. The film does not understand and so is not concerned with old standards. It does not recognize the difference between the use of cliché and the impact language can have when shaped and delivered with real purpose and meaning. It is not concerned with, does not acknowledge, the attempt to dismiss it as hollow. Just as TikTok and YouTube Reels are not concerned, on the whole, with delivering the texture of creativity, with its craft and lived experience and residue of collaboration, so Tron has no desire to present something seamless or provocative. This is not new, it's the attitude of dumb blockbusters generally, but what does feel new is the lack of arrogance in this attempt. There is no assumption of supremacy in the hollowness of AI generation. It does not understand the principle, not really. You cannot reason with it. The terms of the debate are nonsensical if the other side can't be expected to understand them.
It's like the final scene of Bertrand Bonello's Beast, when the protagonist realizes there is no longer any hope of emotional connection. That's gone, it's over, and there's no one to appeal to, because the only people left are the machines who cannot be expected to understand the grief you so long to share and express. You can nurse your anguish in isolation, but there is no sense that it is any longer a shared appeal. We are entering an era of nihilism that does not even have the spiky revolutionary edge it once did, because there are no opponents. You can't argue with AI. It will just pretend to understand your side of things, and you might even be able to convince yourself you're having a cathartic conversation about your creeping sense of dread, your loss of meaning, your existential malaise. But you're not. You're looking into a void. This must be what it felt like when society started to realize that God is dead.